Hi, everyone. This is Sadin from FEC, and welcome to. I'm still muted. I'm not muted, right?
No, you're not. You're good.
Okay. Welcome to our first talk for the semester. First, I'd like to start by introducing who we are as FEC, and then I'll proudly introduce our guests for today. FEC is a student organization at AUC, and basically we're dealing with finance and economics. This is what we stand for. Like the FE and the FNE. We're very passionate about educating the youth and the vast people, like the vast masses, about the exciting fields of finance and economics, obviously. And we're doing this semester a series of very interesting seminars and talks, and this is our very first one for the semester. And today's topic is how technology can disrupt real estate investing. I'm so excited and elated to introduce our speakers for today. Mr. Rami Tabbara, Stake's co-founder, and Sakni's former commercial director, Mr. Mina Ahmed. And our talk for today is going to be moderated by the amazing and very interesting alumna of ASC, Noura Alaim, who's currently an investment analyst at Plus.VC. And with that, I leave the floor to you, Noor.
Thank you, Shadin. Thank you so much for this warm introduction and opportunity generally to allow us all to do this. So I'm very excited that we're going to be talking today about disrupting the how tech is disrupting the real estate market in general. And we're going to be shedding some light on how tech can enable significant investments in the market and how there are so many different opportunities for so many different people now. And joining me to do so is none other than Rami Tabbara, who's the founder of Stake. So Stake is actually revolutionizing the investment process in real estate for properties, whereby users can actually purchase a fraction of a property and gain some passive income from it. So welcome, Romy, and for sure you're going to tell us more about Stake in the webinar.
Thanks a lot for the intro, Shadin and Noor. Very formal with the Mr. It obviously.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
No, a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for having me on this. No, just a quick intro on myself. I'm the co-founder of Stake. It's something that was formed in January of 2020 is when we actually were working on getting the license. But it took us before 2020 to actually get the license. Just a quick background myself, I've been in Dubai for the last 16 years. I grew up in Lebanon, then moved to Canada, then back to Lebanon, where I graduated from school and university there. And then I've been in Dubai for the last 16 years. And all I've done is real estate. So I know the market pretty well. I've seen the ups, the downs, seen the market go through everything, and being in the market for so long. Really, I got to experience the shortfalls of real estate and how we can deliver real estate as a better product. I worked for some of the top developers where we were selling real estate. Dubai attracts so much capital from international investors, and we were able to see, where the shortfalls are. Investors come to Dubai, they fall in love with it, but then, they fall in the hands of brokers or developers who are selling the wrong product. There's a misalignment. An investor wants the best deal and the broker wants to sell a deal at the highest price, or the developer, all they care about are the share prices. So, at the end of the day, there's a misalignment. The idea came, can we create a product that delivers the right returns in a transparent way and online in a digital way, but also where people don't have to put all that money into one property. The biggest hurdle in buying or investing in real estate is the fact that it costs a lot. If you don't have the cash available, you need to get a mortgage, and getting a mortgage, we know the headaches of that, and putting a down payment and going to bed at night knowing you owe a bank some money is a hassle. And in today's world, there has to be a better way of owning property and exposing yourself to that asset class without the headaches and financial liabilities. So my two other co-founders and I came together and decided, what can we do? What my co-founder, Manar, I've known him for 20 years. We went to the same school. He comes from a finance background. And, we came together, and then our third co-founder is our CTO, Ricardo. We came together and decided to launch Stake, and we went public in January 2021. And yeah, we've had some fantastic results since we've launched.
Wow. Well, that's very impressive, and congratulations on going public. And You're exactly the kind of person we need for this webinar. And well, joining you today is Mina Ahmed. So Mina is very influential in the prop tech scene's very early history in Egypt. He's been the head of account management at Property Finder, but then you followed your entrepreneurial sense and went on to being one of the very first team members at Saknin, where you took on the role of commercial director. So hi, Mina.
Hi, thank you, Noor, for the introduction. I'm very thankful for this introduction. Thank you for it. I'm the team with the starting Property Finder from 7 years ago, 2016, when I was the team who started Property Finder in Egypt. I started in Property Finder as a senior account manager for 1 year. Then I was the head of account management when the real estate in Egypt is booming after the devaluation. Property Finder is a subscription model based on B2B business with the clients. So after 3 years, I start to as a commercial director for Saknin. Saknin is a new concept in Egypt as a new start with developer section, primary, not for just for resale or rental like Property Finder. So we have a good spirit with the team. We have a good introduction in the market. So you hear me?
Yeah, we can. No, for sure. And we're actually very excited to get to know more about Saknin during the webinar. So that's amazing, guys. So why don't I kick us off by just getting to know and touching upon the general real estate market, what's happening around the world. So Romy, why don't we start with you? Tell us more about the major trends that you're seeing within the real estate market in the UAE in particular. And Mina, you can then walk us through what's conversely happening in Cairo and Egypt.
Yeah, sure.
So the market in the UAE in general, ever since COVID, has been seeing record numbers. The world kind of paused during COVID, while the UAE kind of did a phenomenal job in opening up and being one of the few cities around the world that was open and allowing people to still fly in. They were one of the fastest countries in the world to vaccinate. So, that really helped speed up the recovery of the property market. I remember when I speak to people and they say, "Oh, how was COVID for you? How was the lockdown?" And really, we didn't have a lockdown other than 1 month. When it first hit, Dubai was open, and that really reflected into the property market. So, in 2021, there was an increase year on year of 80% in terms of transactions, which is phenomenal. And you look at the property prices in Dubai, especially on the luxury side, 44% increase in terms of luxury price increase. Dubai had $40 billion worth of transactions, which is the highest it's had in the last 12 years. So, you look at what's happened in Dubai, and people are now saying, okay, listen, why would I want to put my money anywhere else than a place that offers safety, stability, one of the world's best infrastructures, and come to Dubai where the weather is nice, close to 7-8 months of the year. So, that was reflected in the transactions. And the beauty about it is just in 2022 already, there's a 10% increase in residential prices. On villas, it's over 20%, obviously because of COVID, people wanted bigger spaces. And it's not just limited to Dubai. Sharjah had a fantastic year as well, 26 billion dirhams, Abu Dhabi, 71 billion dirhams. So, we just recently heard, I don't know if you're aware of this, but in Ras Al Khaimah, they just got the first gaming license. So Wynn from Las Vegas Resorts is coming to Ras Al Khaimah, which is obviously, going to be huge. So, in general, the market is going really well. And the major shift that we're seeing is, before people used to say, okay, I'll buy in Dubai because it's a great place in terms of an investment. Dubai has the highest rental yields anywhere in the world when it competes to major capitals. It beats London, New York, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Paris. You can get 6% net in Dubai. But what's changed is people now are starting to move to Dubai and live in Dubai, so becoming end users. And that's obviously been facilitated by the fact that in Dubai now they're giving golden visas, which means you can stay in Dubai for long term. They've removed the need for a local sponsor, so you can own your business 100%. I mean, I can go on. The government has done a phenomenal job here in allowing people to feel that Dubai is home. and enabling people to live here long term and be part of the market and the real estate market. So the real estate prices, as I mentioned, are up. Rents in the last 12 months are up 15%. So the market is really going high, and everyone used to worry about supply and demand in Dubai, but they're controlling that really well, and demand is coming in from a lot of places in the world that never used to come before. So you're getting a lot of Europeans investing in Dubai more than they were before. So the market is on an upward trend.
No, definitely. And I can see how accelerated that is also with Expo and other major events that are happening.
I can't believe I missed Expo. I mean, yes,
Exactly.
that was Expo. We as there's so many things happening that we forgot about Expo.
You can't
keep up, right? But this, here's something. So people always ask me, is the increase in the pricing right now and the market going crazy because of Expo? And obviously Expo plays a part. People are coming. It's the biggest exhibition in the world, and people are flying into Dubai because of that. But people are coming here, and it's obviously helping in terms of the short-term rentals and the hotel rates. But where does Expo help? Because people are coming to Dubai who maybe have not come to Dubai before, and they're like, wow, this is a place I'd like to be. While I'm locked down in Europe, or they didn't handle the pandemic very well, or even in North America, why would I want to be there? I can work from home. I can work from anywhere in the world. Why don't I come and be based myself in Dubai? And that's what the Expos that is done. People are going to say, listen, I want to make this place a place that I have ownership in. So it's a great time to be in property in the UAE.
It is, for sure. Basmina, how is this any similar or any different to Egypt?
We have the same after the COVID, but we had a little bit of change before the devaluation for the currency in October 2016. There is a big gap between the supply and the demand, that the pricing increased almost to 100% because of the devaluation. And nowadays, after the COVID, the prices increased between 20 to 25% on yearly basis, especially for ready-to-move units. That to be the problem is we have 100 million now in Egypt. A lot of people looking for home, ready to move, and there is a gap between the demand and the supply in Egypt. There is a lot of booming trends nowadays in Egypt. Also, what I see the most significant is the new cities. A lot of new cities, and especially in the commercial sector, is booming in Egypt. After the bank interest increase, a lot of people looking for put their money in to invest in real estate or something like that, because after the devaluation, the prices is now really, really high. The new cities, like New Capital itself, is now very well known and also is booming. I saw there is the prop tech industry is getting more recognized, and the people are actually starting to run it. Example, nowadays for there's a lot of prop tech in Egypt, like Saknin, Scan, Nawi, to serve the demand of the people. They are looking to invest their money after the interest increased, decreasing bank.
Yeah, and on the back of what you just said, now that there are so many different real estate and prop tech startups in the region in general, are you guys seeing a shift in demand whereby there are more millennials and Gen Zers and younger generations being more and more encouraged to actually invest in real estate, which is typically very traditional?
I'll say from my point of view, millennials kind of are now kind of the older generation. So millennials have the appetite for real estate. They understand the importance. And I think, COVID today really changed a lot of perception on the fact that how important it is to have a home, how much more time you spend at home. So people are like, okay, listen, I was renting before. Why it makes more sense for me to, buy and get a mortgage and have an asset that, if another pandemic happens or I'm allowed more flexibility to work from home, then why not have a property? So, obviously we're seeing a lot more people wanting to buy real estate or be exposed to real estate. Now, Gen Z is a little bit more difficult because, I think they open up to the investment space and they're like, okay, I want to buy crypto where you can make 30%, but you can also lose 30% overnight, right?
Don't get me started.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the way I always say is, today, especially with the global, with geopolitical situation, economical situation, everything that's happening, there's going to be pressure on asset prices, and interest rates are definitely going to go up. And how does that impact the equity market? The last time the interest rates were increased, it negatively affects the equities market, and the same thing will we expect to happen in crypto as the money supply in the market tends to tighten. But real estate is something that is brick and mortar. You're always going to need to pay rent. So if you own a property and it's in a prime location and you can easily rent it, people need a roof over their heads. So we're starting to reach out to the Gen Zs and be like, listen, you've made good money in crypto or on the stock market, but it makes sense today that if you have $100, put 20% of it, $20 into real estate. And we're starting to see that realized, because people who, crypto was on a big run, and now as it's starting to drop, people are like, okay, listen, I don't want to lose the money I made. Let me put it in something that's stable. And that's where real estate comes into play. And where we kind of, appeal to the younger generation in terms of an investor.
Yeah, and Mina, on the back of that, we're joined today by so many university students that want to break into real estate, but they don't know how to. They really want to break into such a long-standing sector, but they don't know where to start. So what would you consider are the different investment strategies or asset classes that younger generations should focus on as we speak?
As we speak in Egypt, I can see the shift of demand because the government facilitating with making the real estate investment is easy. So more graduate of the client, and also the new government projects are booming. It's now, and they give more credibility for the client to buy in the funds to invest, and that's why the problem before. There's a lot of developers and a lot of client loses credibility in the market because the finishing time is not good. The timing for delivery is postponed for 2 years and 3 years before. And of course, there is a lot of problem when the client think about investment in real estate. But in Egypt now, it's easy. You have to ask expert or broker, and now you can find any information you are looking for online through the PropTech, and you find all information online.
Yeah. And Romy, on that note, do you think that for someone that doesn't typically invest in real estate, are there some asset classes or segments that are more risky than others, and how can younger generations avoid that altogether?
No, I think when someone's investing in real estate for the first time, they really kind of, if they're doing it as a full-on property, they need to obviously check that the developer is credible, the location is good, it's prime. If they're buying it for someone to rent, that there's a tenant inside that they will pay on time. But if they're doing it through a platform, which is what we do, and we allow people to invest any amount, starting from $130. It really is about making sure that the location is right and the asset class. So in real estate, obviously, you have different types. You have residential, you have commercial, you have retail. And for me right now, residential always is the strongest in my point of view, because it's the easiest to understand, it's the easiest to rent out. And after COVID, I think residential real estate is more important than it ever was. As I was saying earlier, people are working from home, spending a lot more time at home. Commercial, we're yet to see the effect. Some people are coming back to the office. Some people still don't want to come back to the office. So commercial, we're yet to see if that's gonna come back again. But
retail,
so
retail.
Well, retail, for me is interesting because people are all on online shopping right now. And actually, we're seeing a trend in the US right now. And I know this because one of our shareholders in Stake is a property developer in the US, and some of their properties, their retail properties, they've converted to warehouses for places like Amazon. So so that's where you see a shift that retail today, if you're not online, you're gonna die. So the retail shop, if it's in a mall where there's a high footfall, I understand. But if you're just a shop in a high street where you can reach customers in a much cost-effective way, then it makes sense to be online. So retail for me is, if you're not in a high footfall place like a mall, it's a risk. But again, so I tell anyone who's for the first time, how do you mitigate risk? By making sure you're buying prime. They always say location. So you need to make sure you're buying prime, and ensuring that you're buying the right asset in terms of who the developer is, if they have the credibility.
Yeah. And just to wrap up, like the general notion about real estate, I wanted to ask you both. So again, for someone that doesn't typically invest in real estate, what would you identify as some of the advantages of investing in real estate in comparison to other traditional investment vehicles like gold or stocks, for example, or untraditional ones like NFTs and crypto, like you said? Mina, why don't we start off by you?
After the devaluation in Egypt that I told you before, is the asset that never lose is the real estate, especially in Egypt. I think Dubai is a little bit different, but in Egypt it's not never lose the assets, never lose. The
Yeah, it's very
prices
lucrative.
rarely go down, but it can be stable. It can be stable, but won't less the usual. And the worst case scenario is the price increase can be a little bit, not be decreasing, never ever.
Okay.
Unlikely the most of other investment, like for example the stocks, the gold, the crypto. Also real estate is long-term investment in Egypt. We have the Mediterranean concept, our land, our home. If you good, as Rami said, good location, and in Egypt we have a metrics like you have to look on the unit rental yield. They have a rental yield or not, percentage of increasing the same area for the previous 2 years, developer credibility in the market. All these things will be good for investment of real estate. That's why the prices go higher. You will never lose your money. You will never lose your increase in your investment real estate in Egypt.
Yeah. And Romy, how do you see it in comparison to, for example, NFTs and crypto?
I think it's a physical asset. So today, it's brick and mortar. That's the difference, and that's a major advantage. The beauty with real estate is you get regular cash flow. So if it's rented, you get paid monthly dividends or quarterly dividends. So that's very important. While in other asset classes, you don't. It has low volatility. As I said, you look at other asset classes. One day you're up 30%, the next day you might be down 50%. So the real estate has very low volatility, which is very important. It's an inflation hedge. Today we all know inflation is at the highest it's been. And last time there was this much inflation, the stock market crashed, I think 20%, if I'm not mistaken. So, today with inflation being this high, you need to hedge against that. And real estate is the number one asset class that hedges against inflation. And then obviously, as Amina just mentioned, capital appreciation. For a fact that you're going to get those steady increases. Now, yes, you might not overnight or over a year, your property appreciates 20%. That's not normal, and you don't want that because that means it's a bubble. But that constant appreciated value on a yearly basis is very important. So that's where I think real estate wins against all the other asset classes such as gold, crypto, equities, and as you mentioned, NFTs. Which, by the way, till today, I still need to read up more on it because it's a crazy world.
No matter how much you read about it, something is still going to be missing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get to that later on. But Romy, I'm gonna shift gears to focus a bit about stake. So you told us already about how you saw the opportunity for stake in the UAE, but how were you able to test and validate your idea initially when you started off?
So, as I said, I've been in the market for the last 16 years. I've worked with thousands of retail investors, and you always know, when you work with so many retail investors and you've been in the market, you kind of know where the opportunity is. You realize that, listen, affordability is a challenge. If you can solve that, there's an opportunity there. People buying the wrong product and then losing money is always a problem. And there's an opportunity if you can solve that. So, while I was working in my old job, and, anyone who's listening who's looking to start their own business, I highly recommend to do that while someone else is paying you in the beginning. Even though there might be employers listening to this, I think, if you have the opportunity to be at a company and use their time to build your own business or start doing research on your business, I think it's very important. So while I was at my previous business, I started working on stake and I started speaking to clients, my top 100 clients. And I started saying, hey, listen, if there is a platform like stake where you can invest what you invested at my old business, where you're putting 1 million dirhams to one property, waiting 4 years while it was being built to make any returns, versus buying something today, putting 1 million dirhams across 5 or 6 different properties, or putting 500,000 dirhams into 5 or 6 different properties and using that other 500,000 to invest in equities or somewhere else. So would you be interested? And they all said yes. So I think out of 100, I got like 90% of them saying yes, we'd definitely be interested. Is there something like this that exists? So I'm like, okay, there is a validation to that. And then I started going to my network in the market from sellers, because you don't only just want demand, you want supply. So when you go to a seller in the market and you're like, hey, listen, would you give your property to a platform where it's one viewing? And this is the beauty of what Stake does. So if you're a seller today, you have to deal with 5 or 6 different brokers. You have to do 6 different viewings. If it's a mortgage buyer, you have to wait 60 days or maybe longer to get the mortgage approved. With us, you're dealing with one platform. We do one viewing, we give you one price, and we get you the money within 30 days. So we're much faster than the market today. So as a seller, I went to sellers and I'm like, if there was a platform where you can do this, would you be interested? And I think I spoke to 20 of the biggest sellers in the market in terms of asset managers, brokers, and they said, yeah, of course. So I'm like, okay, then we're onto something. Now you take that opportunity, you put it onto a platform, you build it, and you take it to the next level. So kind of, before actually going live, we made sure that there's a need for this in the market.
No, I love how agile it was and how you reiterated completely, continuously after getting feedback from the market. But now that you've already done Stake and you went public with it, do you feel like technology has caused some sort of overlap between fintech and real estate, given what you guys do at Stake?
So everyone asks us, are we a prop tech or a fintech? And because we're in real estate, anything that you are doing to improve the whole transactional experience of buying or selling real estate, then you're automatically labeled as a prop tech, because you're bringing technology. People can own a piece of real estate on our platform in 3 minutes. So you can be someone who's living in China today or living in Australia. You can go to getstake.com and buy property and own property in 3 minutes. And that by itself is a huge, falls under prop tech. It's a huge advancement in using tech to really streamline that entire process. Now, why do we also say we're a fintech? Because when you bring the real estate into the fact that there's payments involved, and how you transfer the money and how you invest using a wallet, and then that links to doing online KYC. So when someone invests, they need to upload their proof of address and passport. That entire play is a fintech play. So it's kind of, where you bring property onto the whole user experience, and the way it's transacted is where the fintech comes in. So, it's definitely an overlap of fintech and prop tech.
Yeah. And speaking of prop tech, Mina, you know that in Egypt, the concept of prop tech is still very nascent. Not a lot of people know what prop tech is. Like we said before we started this webinar, fintech is, fintech, e-commerce, they're the ones that are known. Exactly. So how would you explain prop tech to someone that doesn't know prop tech, and how is it different from other startups?
Even a lot of my friends, when I ask me what you are working for, I'm working for prop tech 7 years. What is a prop tech? I have to explain. Do you know Property Finder? Did you know? I don't know. Did you know the site? You have a lot of real estate units. So because only the 7 to 10% of Egyptians are interested in real estate using internet, that's why the prop tech is really not booming, not like the fintech. Use the online marketplace to search for listing. It's not high like the fintech. I'm looking for to pay something online or something like that. So it's a small percentage from the total, but it's a big number. For example, we are 100 million, 10%, we are 10 million looking for a home online. It's a little bit big, but it's still percentage, a small, very, very small percentage from Egypt. However, it's enough in terms of real estate development. The real estate development is really nowadays is booming, but before it's really slow, and it's not like the demand in the market. The transaction models in real estate actually is really hard too, because it's very rarely to find someone who willing to take an action to buying a home or take a discussion online. So that's why there is no prop tech go to the transaction online, right? Like the fintech. Unlikely some other sectors using the transaction like risk tech and fintech, a lot of industry using, but the client have already. I fear because the brokerage, they don't have a credibility to for I choose my home and I will pay online and I make everything online. Like I think there is a lot of platform in US doing this. You can book your home online, or you can see your payment and everything online. In Egypt, it's really hard to do this. That's why the PropTech not like the FinTech or another technology platform.
Yeah. And I think we spoke a bit about the client side, but now I want to focus more on the real estate developers themselves and on your experience at Saknin. So how was your experience onboarding real estate developers to Saknin and explaining to them what Saknin was basically? And
Yeah.
how was it for them to understand Saknin's value proposition?
Actually, the onboarding process wasn't really easy. As a developer, always want to sell, not want to make a branding. I want to sell my unit, so I want to put. I will give you very very small information. Not I want to present their project in the different way or a new platform. They will give you a sample of this information, a few very few information for their project. However, the actually challenge was they never give you all the need info, like the inventory, the materials, mainly because they want to keep this market price stable. They are looking for every time you have to get the client and to get meeting. The starting price will be X. No, I want to know the actual price. They said all the time the starting price. So the consideration between the supply and the demand to go the most profits for this transaction. That's why it's really hard to know what the inventory every developer have. They always say we have launch after 3 months, another launch, so to keep the price stable in the market.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. But now that you've been in Saknin and both Property Finder, what would you say are the key differences between both platforms for those that don't know?
There is a big difference between Saknin and PFE, Property Finder in Egypt. Let's talk first about Property Finder. Since Property Finder is the first online real estate platform now in Egypt. Is a good, very good product for resale and rental sector. Our excellent experience with the client because the product is product market fit for resale and rental. Actually, I think it's when Property Finder starts in UAE is for rental first, then resale. Actually, in Egypt, the market is a little bit different. That's why we are thinking in Saknin. Saknin is more focused on the primary unit. That of 90% from the market now is buying the primary unit.
And I think this shows how different both markets are. And
yeah. There is. I think there is no a lot of unit off planned in UAE like Egypt. If Rami, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. There are off-plan developments here. I mean, before there was huge off-plan development. Now the developers are slowing down because it's becoming more of a mature market. So you have a lot less off-plan developments coming on because they're trying to control the supply. But yeah, you know, I hear what you're saying. Off-plan development brings in a lot more supply into the market. So it kind of,
yeah.
Okay. Saknin is more focused on primary unit or primary homes. So you can calculate your down payment, your monthly installment. If you are looking, if you are looking for ready to move unit, you can also get a mortgage. So you can compare unit price with cash price and unit price with in cash in installment. So Saknin's product market fit for the mortgage unit and the primary unit. The unit have an installment. PFE is the best for resale, cash price, and the rental. So that's the difference between PFE in terms of inventory and Property Finder is a B2B platform and Saknin B2B and the B2C platform.
That makes sense. And honestly, now that we've touched upon both Stake, Property Finder, and Saknin, I wanted to ask you both, how do you see tech moving forward within the real estate market? So, for example, do you see deep tech and AI implemented on how in real estate, and how soon can we expect tech to start disrupting the traditional real estate market, or is it here to stay for them?
So I'll say that, deep tech is definitely coming into the market. When you talk about that, you talk about AI, and just the use of machine learning to be able to make better decision making across the entire value chain. That's something that we highly value. So, as a startup in their first year, you're just going to market. But one thing that we've done to push the envelope is we signed a partnership with MIT, where we basically got into their data science program called Capstone. So we had machine learning scientists, data scientists, building us a machine learning algorithm to build a model in-house, so that when we're choosing real estate and supply, it's not just human touch, but it's actually the machine that we feed data all the time. So yeah, and Dubai information is readily available, so the data is there. And now we're going to be very soon making an announcement on how all our data in terms of asset selection is not just us, but it's through a MIT built machine learning algorithm. And I think that's definitely here to stay, because today with the markets moving so fast, whether it's from a population perspective or from geopolitical, or whatever is happening in the world, that today there's a lot of things that are happening, but you need to kind of have your finger on what's happening from a data perspective, and it's definitely here to stay. People can't keep doing things the old way, and you can see that we get called by developers, not just in Dubai, by the way. We've been called by developers in Egypt, some of the biggest, who've said, hey, listen, we understand that people don't want to go into an office and buy real estate like they used to. They want to do it from their phone. And can they do that through you? Can we give you our real estate to do it through you? And I think that's where the opportunity is, because today data's there, and there's a huge demand from the main players such as developers to kind of bring technology and make it mainstream for everyone. So it's definitely here to stay. We're big components of it. I mean, before we launched, how could you own property in Dubai online in 3 minutes? And that's just our first step. And we're really pushing the envelope in terms of making sure technology, whether it's from AI, deep learning in terms of the data that we provide to our investors, but also just the way people transact, is definitely going to be improved as not just us, but as other players come into the market and push the envelope even further.
Well, speaking of the way people transact, I'm going to talk about something that's a bit foreign to most of us, but Romy, for sure you've been hearing about real estate investments within the metaverse. What do you think about that? Do you think the traditional real estate market is going to be affected in comparison to that in the metaverse?
So I don't think it's going to be affected. Actually, very soon we'll be announcing something exciting that has to do with that. I'll keep it under the wraps because I'm not allowed to speak. We've signed an NDA.
I'm pretty sure you're.
We have something exciting that we'll be announcing on that front. But I think the metaverse is something that's interesting, and anyone who says it's just a fad, it's just a hype, you see a lot of smart money going in. You have JP Morgan, you have the biggest banks, you have the biggest VCs in the world pouring money into it, and there is definitely
VCs were pulling in thousands and thousands of dollars within the metaverse.
Of course, and the reason why is, I'll tell you, I have a 6-year-old son. He's starting to play Nintendo Switch, and you can see that he's so deep into it, where he believes that there's that virtual world where he wants to be a part of. Now, it's down to how much you control it, but the metaverse is here to stay. It's a matter of how people use it. I think they're going to use it for more advertising purposes, because there's going to be a lot of gaming. It's more important for the gaming side of things. But will it affect real estate, the real life real estate? No. It's the biggest asset class in the world. I don't think people are going to say, oh, listen, I don't want to invest in real assets, I'll only invest in the metaverse. I never see that happening. But there's a huge opportunity in the metaverse that we all need to recognize and be part of, because with gaming becoming something that's going to be part of the daily life, whether you're a teenager or someone that's growing up, today the whole movie experience is going to be in the metaverse. So there's definitely a place for it. I don't see it taking over physical real estate, but definitely metaverse is going to be huge. And, I see someone has asked something, is there a place for VR and AR? And 100%, that's all part of the metaverse. And that's where real estate becomes very exciting because you kind of take the whole experience to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. And Mina, why don't you just wrap it up by telling us whether you think deep tech is going to play a role in the Egyptian real estate market anytime soon? And what do you think is the future of prop tech in Egypt?
Yeah, I see. طبعا, yes, of course, people are trying to save time and effort, and the tech is one of the key to solve this problem. Yeah. And insights to make to 10 to 20 visit to find your home or your commercial space. They are looking for prop tech to help them to comfort their home. نقدر نقول إن which would be also affect capacity if you can work with a broker to send for you the picture and 3D tours and something like that. The future of real estate and prop tech, especially in Egypt, is booming. However, there is a lot of currently portal now is working in Egypt, but the problem is there is no portal that affords the affordability in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
No one offered the affordability in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
it's one of the most expensive things to do in Egypt is to invest in real estate.
Yeah, but there is, however, نقدر نقول there is a lot of prop tech, but not in Egypt. In US, for example, Zillow basically he buys a home for you and you pay for them with the installment.
Yeah.
I believe there is such option should be offered by online Egyptian home in marketplace with this experience. It would be good. The existing online portals now is fixed the problem for the property information, lack of information, the property details, the payment details, and it's all about lack of information. No one is offered the affordability in Egypt.
Yeah.
So that's why I see the prop tech future is upcoming in Egypt.
No, I completely agree, and I think it's going to continuously be evolving. But before we get to Q&A, I'd like to thank you guys so much for giving us such insightful, takes on the real estate market and the prop tech market. And I think we have around 15 minutes for Q&A. We already have some interesting questions that are coming in. So let's start off by a general question where Ahmed asked if there are any specific drivers that may stimulate the investment movement in real estate.
I mean, I can answer from my point of view is definitely, whether it's reducing interest rates, whether it's, opening up the market to allow foreigners to invest in certain places in the city, allowing people like in Dubai, what they've done is, with the golden visas, allowing people to own their own companies. And I think, today, obviously Egypt has a huge local market, but I think anywhere today, if the more the city opens up and allows international investors to feel comfortable with the market, that will really stimulate the market. And we see this happening in Saudi Arabia right now. I mean, there's massive changes, massive positive changes happening there. And you can see that the market is really picking up because people are saying, hey, before I would have never thought of investing in Saudi, and now today this is a place to be. And, I think as a government, there's a lot of stimulus to opening up the market and showing proper clarity, transparency. I think transparency is so important, access to data, to be able to say, hey, listen, these are the transactions in our market. This is where, how much residential is being bought, how much offices. And I think the more transparency and comfort people have, then, money will flow. And most importantly is regulation. What I've seen help Dubai the most is regulation and being able to say there's a proper regulator in the market that will control and not control the market, but actually make sure that documentation and the whole process, the whole real estate process is legal and clean. This will drive and stimulate this real estate transactions anywhere.
Mina, I think this is one of the most hindering things in the real estate market in Egypt, which is regulation, that a lot of people don't understand the regulatory framework.
Yeah, because there is no one document for the regulation in Egypt. Every developer have is really regulation now for contract is not the same, payment plan is not the same. There is no rules to understand the market in Egypt, especially for the brokers. Anyone want to be working real estate, you can make it easily in Egypt. It's not like UAE. UAE, they have RERA and licenses. If Rami, correct me if I'm wrong, to working in real estate market in UAE.
Yeah, I mean, that when they introduced RERA and the regulator, it really changed the market, because you have local investors and international investors saying, hey, listen, at least I'm protected. You know, if anything happens, there's a certain rule book or a law book that I can go back to and fall back on to say, hey, listen, these are my rights that are protected. So that's massive stimulator to help the market really grow and develop and mature.
Good. Romy, there are about 3 questions for you. So
of course,
how can you differentiate between stake and smart crowd? And what are the risks that come with a real estate investment through Get Stakes platform?
So, you know, I give Smart Crowd as a platform like ourselves. I give them credit because they were the first to go to the regulator and you know, pave the way for other platforms. I think we're different from many reasons. I think the team has a lot more real estate experience. I mean, combined between everyone in the company, we have over 30 years of real estate experience. You know, I think as well from our whole tech offering, you know, we've been in the market for less, and we already have an app out, which is you know, a big statement from a platform that's only launched a year ago. I think our approach to real estate is very different. We tend to focus on prime locations, and that's something that, you know, we won't jeopardize on, you know, and we don't shy away from smaller units. So, you know, other platforms might go for real estate that's, you know, $100,000 or $200,000, and those tend to be in areas that are, you know, subprime. You know, we won't do that. You know, we've already broken the record for the highest funded residential unit on the investment platform, which was close to 2.1 million dirhams. We just broke that 2 days ago with 3 million dirhams, which is close to $900,000, $880,000. So, you know, I think from and our third co-founder, who's our CTO, has built a similar platform to Stake in the UK called Cedars, which actually just got bought out by Republic, an American company worth over $1 billion. So, you know, our technology over the next, you know, very soon you'll be able to see massive improvement in technology, and obviously our data, as I mentioned, you know, we place huge importance on data to be able to say, you know, our data selection, our unit selection is powered by data. So, you know, those are kind of the major differences. But, you know, I think overall, you know, we will be announcing a lot more things over the next 6 to 8 months, which will also differentiate our entire platform over any other player in the market. And to answer your next question in terms of risks, investing on Stake is similar to investing in a property on your own. You know, there's vacancy risk. If you buy your own property, there's a chance that it can be empty. And the same applies to us. You know, we have tenants inside. Sometimes they might leave and it might take us a while to rent, whether it's short-term or long-term. And there's also the, you know, a market risk. So, you know, you're buying in Dubai, whether you buy your own property or you buy through Stake, if the market drops, you know, the property price will drop with us. So we're not, you know, we can't escape that. But, you know, the beauty of Stake is if you do buy your own property and it's empty, you're losing all the income. But if you buy on Stake, you can put, you know, $10,000 or $5,000 across 5 different properties. And if one's empty, the other 4 will be rented. And that's where kind of we really push in the fact that there's a lot less risk by investing in real estate through Stake than doing it on your own.
And I think someone has a more legal question per se. So is it fractional ownership through property title deed, or is it co-ownership in an SPV?
So the way we're regulated by the DFSA, and as per the regulation, what we do is there is a title deed that comes out, and the title deed is in the name of an SPV. So, you know, to answer your question, yes, the property is owned by an SPV, which is in the DIFC, which gives a lot of investors comfort because they're able to see their names in the company register, which is online. And then that company owns the property, and then the title deed comes out in the Dubai Land Department in the name of the SPV, which, by the way, is not something new. In the US, they do it. It's very safe. And, you know, as I mentioned, we're regulated, so it's very transparent and straightforward.
I think it was just new to the region.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. And this is what we need to do is raise awareness, right? So, we need to continually raise awareness about this is the new way of buying real estate. I mean, there are unicorns in the US right now that buy and sell property through SPVs. And it's a very straightforward process.
But again, like we mentioned, the transparency is key because, in the region, everyone cares so much about transparency and where they're putting their money in. So
100%. 100%.
Mina, we have a question for you. So what are the challenges that you face with the PropTech concept in Egypt? And
the challenge is the lack of information. When you deal with the brokers, for example, for resale unit, they don't want to show you where is this property actually, because there is no law to protect his commission and to protect the client side, because I can see this property and I can work out to catch up with the owner directly and call him. So I put for you generic photos and asking for price is not correct. That's why when I as an end user, I called for this unit. I want to see this unit, so I see another. The picture is not. It's not good. Like it's not like the actually unit, and the price it's not the same. The price is increasing for 10% to 20%. It's a little bit unit to bet lead on the platform. That's why we made a lot of challenge to put a correct information, on the platform.
And I think this question is very relevant to the Egyptian real estate market. So someone is asking, is it best to buy land and build the preferred estate, or is it best to buy directly from a developer from a cost return point of view? I don't know if this is relevant to you as well, Romy, but it's very relevant
it is.
to the market.
It is. But yeah, please, Mina, go ahead, and then I can, give my input on that.
I think in Egypt you have a lot of work to do for legal paper to build your own home, and that's why you're building a separate villa. So the separate villas will be good on gated community. You can. You cannot build your villa and gated community alone. You have to be buy directly from the developer. It will be cost you cheaper, and if you are not aware with raw material and the pricing for the engineering, blah 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 later on, definitely you have to go to the developer to be under the cost for the price.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying bye to. I'm saying bye to my colleague. I agree, and I think today, if you have the patience, and you want to build your own specification on a plot, and you can afford it, because a developer is usually going to get, because they have a lot more capital, they're going to be developing something in a better area than what you can get on your own. So, developers usually are able to buy prime land at a discount because of the fact that they have the capital and they're able to negotiate a lot more than you can. So, if you do have the patience and you can afford the land in a prime area, then obviously build it your own, because it's your own specifications and it's your own home. But more times than not, the developer is able to provide you with an asset or a finished product in a competitive way than you can actually build it on your own.
Yeah. Another interesting question, which actually caught my attention, is someone that's asking about pegging crypto with real acquisitions. So what do you think are the capabilities of fusing crypto and real estate or real assets together, like acquiring assets through pegging crypto, basically?
That's a very good question. I mean, there are companies.
Honestly, it got me thinking, Yanni.
Yeah, I mean, there are companies that do that. Actually, I fell across a company in the US that was doing that. It's an interesting way of doing it. You're pegging a volatile asset with a non-volatile asset. And there's definitely a market there, but I think it's a long way in our part of the world to get regulators comfort with that and to get customers comfortable with that. But I mean, if there's a way that you can build that, then there's going to be a market for that.
It's just very untapped at the moment, yeah, I need to answer that
It
question.
is, and you know, the person who's actually doing that transaction is taking the risk of crypto, right? Because you know, you're exchanging your crypto for the real estate, and you know,
Crypto is very volatile, so yeah.
Exactly. So they're kind of opposite, but there is a way of doing that, and obviously, you know, for us, we'd love to accept crypto. Currently, we cannot under our current regulation, but you know, for us, it's there's definitely a market where crypto and real estate converge. It's just a matter of making sure that it's still regulated, because even crypto in general, people are pushing, and regulators around the world and governments and banks are asking it for it to be regulated. So, you know, I think we're still a long way to get to that.
Mina, there's one interesting question about the real estate market in Egypt. So someone is asking, what do you think is the lifetime of investing in real estate, especially in Egypt, given circumstances like the one that happened in 2007 and the current trends that people are shifting more to crypto and increasing construction and so on?
The price now is in the, what I'm looking for, what I want to say is the lifetime investment in real estate is really good in Egypt. There is the mindset in Egypt. It's really hard to think about to go to live all your life in a rental unit or something like that. We are looking forward to buy a unit. The prices really increase, especially in the new cities like New Capital. Yeah. I agree.
That was what was mentioned actually in the question, exactly.
Yeah. That's really good to invest in real estate nowadays, because I think there is another devaluation is coming for the Egyptian currency. So the price will be increased for 20 to 25% next year. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's that's why, and the rental yields is increased yearly for 10%. So you can make a good ROI from units you can rent it or invest in real estate in Egypt. For sure, the crypto and the cryptocurrency it's good for that, but the mentality in Egyptian people not looking now for the crypto and this currency right now. Maybe after 2 years or something will be booming. I don't know.
No, I completely agree, honestly. Romy, let's take two final questions. So someone was asking regarding what we were talking about right before the webinar, are stakes properties inventory only in Dubai, or are you planning to go outside?
So currently
I cornered you here, so
yeah. Currently we're in Dubai, and there's definite plans to go outside of Dubai. We already have applied to go into Saudi, where we'll be in Saudi hopefully before the end of the year. Egypt is something that's definitely on the map. We've already started our process there, so stay tuned. You know, Egypt is a big market for us. You know, as I mentioned earlier, we've been contacted by some of the biggest developers there, so we're working with lawyers on the ground to really come very soon. So stay tuned for that. It's a very exciting market. I believe there's a huge potential, as you know, Mina was talking, and you know, we'd love to be there from both an investment point of view, an end user point of view, and getting into the mortgage market. And I think, you know, we have enough as an experience as a platform right now where we can apply the technology that we've built and continually to build to come there. And also, you know, we're doing international property, so we will be listing stuff in Europe very soon, because you know, the beauty of Dubai is you have, on our current platform, we have over 100 different nationalities from 30 different countries who've invested on stake. And you know, investors like to invest in Dubai, but they also want exposure to property in the US. They want exposure to property in the UK and different places in Europe. So before the end of the year, we will definitely have properties in Europe on our platform, and hopefully in Saudi. And if we can find a way to speed up the process in Egypt, then Egypt as well, for sure.
We're excited for that, for sure. And I think we have one final question that would wrap up our discussion perfectly. Someone is asking, should PropTech entrepreneurs focus on clients or brokers more? And can we imagine a world where brokers are replaced by PropTech options as an alternative to brokers?
I can't imagine. I think there is no way I'm buying a home I'm leaving for a time or for investment. I need to discuss with someone it's a good investment or not yet. It's good to see the numbers. It's good to see the data for this apartment. But for example, in Egypt, there is no data, so it's really a good. There is a big problem for data. So I think the brokerage, the PropTech in Egypt nowadays, and I think worldwide too, it's not replacing, but the PropTech can afford more information and more information, and if they can offer the affordability, it will be good for the client, for the end user.
Yeah, no, I agree. Romy, what's your take?
I think you need to focus on both, and when you're as a prop tech entrepreneur, I say in the beginning it's very important to focus on the broker, because the broker's already in the market, and they already deal with clients. So if you're able to kind of understand the value and the process from a broker side and making their lives easier, then they'll connect with you. But you can't forget the clients, because at the end of the day, clients' needs are always changing. That's something I try to contact almost every investor on our platform. We have over 1,200 investors on our platform, and I think I reach out to 95% of them, because their needs always change. So it's very important to keep your eyes and ears on the clients, because their demands change, their needs change, they might want something different. So and you need to bring them both together, because anyone who says that you're going to isolate the broker or technology is going to be replacing broker, I agree with Mina. At the end of the day, brokers in more advanced cities in the world haven't been replaced, and where technology and AI, even in the US, is huge. Deep technology is big, and they still haven't been replaced, because you still need that broker to help you. You still need human touch. And we saw the other day, I think maybe 2 months ago, Open Door lost over $300 or $400 million on their iBuying, because they were using technology and without really digging deeper by humans. So, and having that human touch. So they'll help the ecosystem, but they'll never replace a broker. But my advice is definitely focus on both.
Yeah, I honestly, I completely agree with both of you from an investment point of view as well. If we have a prop tech startup that comes and says, okay, here's the deal, we're replacing brokers completely, or we're eliminating brokers from the picture, we wouldn't believe that. So I think this answers your question. I'm so sorry we didn't get to answer the rest of the questions, but unfortunately we're all out of time. But thank you guys so much. This has been
I'm happy to share my email, by the way, if anyone wants to.
So please do that over the chat.
Yep, I will do that right now. If someone would like to drop me an email, please feel free to, or send me a WhatsApp. I'm always available. Here's my mobile number. So please feel free to drop me any questions you might have about stake, about the market, or just basic entrepreneurship on prop tech and my experience over the last 2 years building this. Please reach out.
Thank you, Romy. That's so nice of you, and thank you, Mina, so much for joining us today. This has been super helpful. Shadin, why don't you end us off?
Yeah, first I'd like to thank Romy, Mina, and Noor so much for joining us. You've been such a joy, and we've learned so much from you guys. I want to thank everyone who attended the webinar. Inshallah, this is the first of many, and I personally want to thank all of you guys, like Noor, Romy, and Mina. I had no information, no background when it came to real estate, and I learned so much. So here's a very, very huge thank you to all of you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for organizing all of this, and inshallah we'll regroup soon.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for having us.
Bye-bye.